Magic Mike, how are you? Before I introduce tonight's special guest and co-host, returning guest, how are you? You well?
Well, I normally say I'm good. I'm tired this week, but I'm still good. It's been a busy week.
Not that I want to start a podcast with the weather, but it's early mid-December, and look at the three of us. We're all sitting here in bloody hoodies and jumpers. It's unbelievable. I've got the uniform hoodie back on. Unbelievable. It's so cold. Mike, I said to everyone in the intro, which you obviously heard, no Rocket tonight. We have a special guest, a returning guest of the podcast, helping us co-host for a chat. He's aware that it's an unplanned chat. We've got a few things to talk about, but as is always the way with our Rocket Man, we have a theme tune for him, which is this. So we're not going to play that, but I have made a special theme tune for our guests tonight. I've made a special theme tune in line with a number of themes. There's a number of themes, and we'll do a little pop quiz after we play the theme tune for our special guest. Dance. I'll listen to it all.
Keep it going. Keep it going. Loogie. Oh, that. He's trying to bring a tear in my eye here, Mike.
Then, Bon, I could sing all the words to that.
We should have said this episode's going to go for an hour and a half, and an hour of it will just be the intro music.
I could have. I can sing all the words to that song. Stuart Kerr, welcome back to the My Love of Golf podcast. How are you, mate?
I'm good, Ross. I'm good, Mike. How you doing, boys? All right?
Good. Great to have you.
Good to see you both.
Is that it, Mike?
I feel like I haven't.
Sorry,
I feel like I haven't caught up with you guys in ages, and this feels like the perfect way to catch up.
It is.
Oh, we can do it more often. Firstly, let's go back to my finest creative work for today. The theme tune. What are the references there, Stu? What are the references there?
So I've got the Fratellis, obviously, firstly, which, funnily enough, my sister-in-law actually used to work with a bass player for the Fratellis.
There you go.
And secondly, obviously, Yes Sir, I Can Boogie, which is a reference to the Scotland football team that's become a bit of a national anthem.
There you go.
And the third one, honestly, I actually couldn't hear it, to be honest with you.
Oh, really?
Even the Fratellis was quiet as well. Did you hear it, Mike?
It was up and down, yeah.
Oh, sorry. So there you go. Well, hopefully it comes through. Well, the third mashup there was We Have a Dream. We have a dream. From the World Cup, probably the last time.
I mean, when was that? 98?
Yeah,
France, 98.
Before you were born, but probably, there we go. So the Fratelli's obviously a famous Glaswegian band. Dylan Fratelli, bit of golf thing in there. So, and not that there's anything to do with it, just Fratelli's. There we go. There you go.
Well, I appreciate the effort you put into it.
Thanks very much. And so we might end up talking about a bit of football, because Stuart is the unofficial captain of the Adelaide United Football Club golf team. We'll talk about that because I've got a challenge to throw down there, and we'll talk about a bit of golf. Mike, how are you, mate?
Good. Little tired. Good. Been a bit. It's peak cheese selling season for me, so it's a little bit crazy at the minute, because all of you people that are going to eat cheese need it on the supermarket shelves in about 14 days. And that means I have to have it on a pallet leaving King Island now and shipping stuff over to the mainland and then trucking it around from there. So it's crazy times at the minute.
How's that for a sentence? It's peak cheese selling season right now. That was the last thing I expected to hear on a golf podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
Welcome. There's not much golf. Mike's role is the unofficial ambassador to King Island, and on Melbourne mainland, peak cheese selling season. Yeah, and it usually starts with a chat about biscuits because Rodney's mum in Tasmania sends us up Scottish shortbreads. Matt Molliker, who you also know, Stuart, has weighed into the biscuit debate on this podcast because he's sent us some Italian biscottis. So,
some lovely lemon biscottis.
He's created an internal biscuit feud.
They would get Caridi's vote.
They're very. Do you know what? I'm lucky. I'm lucky enough to have had both. Matt hand delivered some lemon biscotti, and they were delightful. But Ma Rocket sent up from Tasmania sent up some shortbread for me. So I'm unbiased and happy to keep judging samples at the moment, which is good.
Oh, mate. Stu, what's happening in your world over there in Adelaide?
No, just the usual, Ross. I mean, same as everyone, plugging away, try to just get some work wherever it's going, and hoping that the borders will kind of fully open up soon enough so we can get back on the road, you know?
And on the road, does that mean heading back across over the waters to the States and catching up with all that crew from...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think 2022 will see us going back over to the US for a little bit, catch up with Eric and the gang and hopefully do some work. And then the plan is to be at the Open as well in July, touchwood. All going to plan. Hopefully get back there for the 150th, you know?
Well, we know because we've spoken about it. We've dreamed about putting, the Mile of Golf podcast on the road and going. I only got the Tuesday ticket in the ballot. Mike, what did you get?
Did you manage to get a ticket in the ballot?
We got a Tuesday, which I declined.
Honestly, the practice days are the best days to go to golf tournaments. This is what, I don't know, the practice days for me are 100% the best days to go because it's such a relaxed atmosphere. The players are way more relaxed on those days. You can take a camera in.
Yeah.
You can kind of take photos without feeling too bad. And then tournament days, obviously the crowd is like super amped. And if there is a marquee group to follow, so to speak, you can't see anything anyway.
Yeah.
I always say that if I was to go back to the Masters again, I would do maybe 2 practice days, maybe 1 tournament day, and watch the weekend at home.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't, Mike. When you were at Augusta, were you there? You were there for the weekend, weren't you?
Yeah. So we got tickets I got tickets in the ballot. So I got 4 tickets to the Wednesday, the par 3 day, which is perfect because you can go around, take photos, walk the par 3 course, and obviously anything. But you're walking the main course all morning, and everyone's out there practicing. And then we went on Friday and Sunday. And in the middle days, we played golf. So played Palmetto and another course sort of in Aiken. So it was just good to break up. But like you said, the practice day was good because you could go wherever you wanted. Like you said, it was very relaxed. You could take photos, and going all the way there, you want to have a photo at Amen Corner and,
Yeah, for sure.
It's all that sort of stuff that you can't do on the tournament days.
Don't get me wrong. Obviously going to, you would love to go to any day if you could. I'm just going back to a Tuesday is not actually a bad day to get a ticket to because it is such a relaxed atmosphere. And I find as well a lot with being at golf tournaments, when you're there on the weekend, you're missing a lot of the action that's going on.
Yeah. Especially Augusta, because there's no camera, there's no screens, you haven't got a phone, there's nothing you can see.
You're literally judging by the roars.
Yeah.
Of what's going on.
You're hearing a sound and you're like, that sounds like it's about 6, and you've got your piece of paper. I reckon they're about here.
Yeah, exactly.
I reckon that was a Rory roar, but that wasn't a Tiger roar. That's the sort of stuff. Yeah.
So I think you've done well getting that ticket for any day, Rossco.
Well, we're still, between here and, July, August, September, we're just weighing up when we should go, can go, all that sort of thing. So I'd love to go. I'd love to go at that time, but just weighing up whether, July, August or September. Yeah, July's going to be a massive month in golf in Scotland. Like, what have we got? They got the Scottish Open at the start at Renaissance Club.
Yeah.
Then we've got the Open at St Andrews. Then the Seniors Open at Gleneagles, and then the Women's British Open in the first week of August at Muirfield.
Muirfield, yeah.
Wow.
So, when I think about going there, it's going to be packed, like playing golf and holidays. Anyway, whatever, we'll work it out. Where else? We just go for the Open? You're planning to go is there other stuff happening?
really early in the kind of planning process, to be honest with you, obviously with everything that's going on. But I think I would maybe get to the Open and maybe hang back for the women's as well. I'd love to go and watch the women's Open at Muirfield. That would be pretty special. But yeah, besides that, I haven't really thought too much about it, Ross. That's just kind of loosely what I'm thinking about next year, as soon as we can start getting overseas a little easier and things like that. Obviously, because it's been such a long time. I mean, it'll be 2 years by the time I actually finally get back.
Yeah.
You know, it'll be 2 years that we've been here for.
And you came back pre-COVID. So you came back and didn't realise you weren't going, back. Yeah,
we were at the Genesis Riviera, which is in Feb, I believe. And I think Cassandra and I got back to Adelaide the beginning of March, and then we're due to fly out the 19th of March and then we're going to South America at the end of March for Adventures in Golf. So that was all planned, and obviously the closer it got to that 19th date, that was when things really started to ramp up.
Yeah.
So the South America, I think we were supposed to be doing Vietnam and Korea from memory, and they got pulled straight away. And Eric and the guys were like, still come, we'll still do South America. And then they had a bit of a crisis meeting about a week before, and then that got pulled. And Eric had kind of said, you can still come over if you want, and we'll have some work here to do. But the closer it got to the day, this was only 2 days out, by the way, from us due to fly over. And we kind of said, we'll just wait, because at that time it was like, we'll wait and we'll do it in a couple of months when all this dies down, Yeah. And that's coming up 2 years.
2 years ago. Yeah.
So that all kind of got put on hold. But touch wood, obviously it looks like things are starting to open up now again. But I mean, like I say, that's why I don't like to say too much about what my plans are for next year, because who knows?
Yeah.
No, correct. We're used to that, mate. And, let's just fingers crossed for, you, all the gang, want to go to the, Mike wants to go to New Zealand. I want to go back to Tassie and Scotland. We all want to do that. Speaking of Tassie, you've been a couple of times since we've been. Mike and I went in March. You went, I think, in April or May, and been back since. So we might talk about a little bit of short course golf in this episode. You've seen the short course there at Bougle Run. Tell us about it.
Oh, it's superb. It's the perfect addition to Barnbougle. I think Barnbougle needs one more thing, and then it's complete, and that is a punch bowl putting green, kind of a la Himalayas at St Andrews kind of thing, which I think they're actually planning on doing out by Barnbougle Dunes in front of the clubhouse there. So that would then just take it to the next level. But on Bougle Run, like I say, it's just the perfect addition. When I remember being so excited when they announced that they were going to be building that short course, because I guess similar to, they're popping up everywhere these days, aren't they? I guess the first one of that kind of mold was the Preserve at Bandon Dunes, but then you've obviously got the Cradle down at Pinehurst, and all these funky little short courses. End of the day, you've only got an hour of sunlight left. Let's go with a half set and just hit some balls, kind of thing.
There's one at the did you play the Hills? They've got one at the Hills, haven't they?
The Hills have got a par 3 course. We never played it. They had a par 3 comp the week that we were down, but Eric never played in it, so I never actually got to see it. But that's another example. They just seem to be popping up everywhere. And when Barnbougle announced that they were going to be building Bougle Run, I was so excited to get down and see it, and it totally lived up to the expectation, as all the courses down there do,
Yeah.
How did so when you saw it for the first time, is it different, or it's up on that hill behind Barnbougle Lost Farm, isn't it? There, Lost Farm, yeah.
Yeah, it's right by this. The first tee there is right by the first tee at Lost Farm,
and just a series of little short 3s and 4s, and
so you get 2 par 4s and 12 par 3s, and it's totally different. So I was kind of expecting it to be, I guess, similar to the Preserve at Bandon. That was what I had in my head. but it's completely different. And it's funny because the first as you kind of walk out onto the course, it's kind of a little bit nondescript. The first couple holes, they kind of just ease you into it, which is really reminiscent of Bougle Dunes itself.
Yeah.
As you both know, you kind of head out there and like 1, 2, 3 are the kind of the cool holes, but they're just almost warming you up for your main event, which is then you get to 4 and you see that big bunker. Bougle Run's kind of similar. Like there's 2 short par 3s, but there's not really much going on. And then you walk up the hill to the tee box at number 3, and you've got this huge kind of gully in the side and this multi-tiered green, and then from there, it's just so much fun. The thing that they've done right there as well is you can play it from like black tees, which are still, some of the holes are only maybe 100 meters or 130 meters, but they have tee boxes right up front as well. So you could essentially play a huge game of mini golf if you really wanted to. Or say maybe you're there with your partners have come down and they're not big on golf. You could quite easily take your partner with you, and they could have a fun time as well. So they've done such a great job with it.
And how many hole-in-ones did you and the old man have in the 16 holes?
I lost count. It's only 14 holes.
Yeah.
I tell you what, we came close a couple of times. We came very close a couple of times. The funny thing was, I played it with, I was down there with Lucas, Michelle, as you guys know, at the beginning of the year, and Lucas and I played it a couple of times. And then when I went with Dad, we had played so much golf and we'd been building up to playing Bougle Run because he had never seen it. And by the time we actually got to play it, the two of us were exhausted because we'd already played about 30 holes that day.
Yeah.
And 29 holes that day. And old Jack ain't what he used to be. He's and it's a slog. Those courses are a slog. They're so hilly, you know. So we got to Bougle Run. I think we were about maybe 7 holes in, and he went, "I've seen enough." He was done.
He was looking fit. Ross and I said the other week, I think you had a picture up from when you were there, and he was looking really fit.
Yeah, no, he keeps fit, my old man. He's probably fitter than me. He's out on the bike every weekend and still playing plenty of golf. He looks after himself.
So Big Jack's all right?
He's great, yeah. We had the best time down there. I mean,
was it just you and him?
It was just the two of us. Yeah. That was, so the first trip I went down with Lucas, that was kind of work orientated. Whereas I suppose with the borders being shut and things like that, then Virgin launched flights from Adelaide direct to Launceston, which we've never had before. And they had a huge sale and it was $49. For one day, it was $49 each way. So I just phoned Dad and I said, let's just book any 2 random days and we'll just go down and play golf. So the two just went down there and just had 2 full days of golf, you know.
So how many, in the 2 full days, how many holes did you fit in?
I think, so by the time we got there on the first day, I think we played Dunes. So we played Dunes on the first day we got there. And then we just kind of chilled out. And then the second day we got up, played 20 at Lost Farm, had some lunch, played 9 at Dunes, had something to eat, and then went over to Bougle Run and probably played 8 or 9 at Bougle Run, I think.
Mike the Punisher Caridi made us play 94 holes in 2.5 days.
Oh, you'd never been. You'd never been. And I told you the first time we go around each course, I'll give you knowledge, and the second time around, I'm giving you nothing because then the money's on the line. But we played Dunes when we arrived, and then the next day got up and played back-to-back Lost Farm, so all 40 holes.
That's an aggressive move.
And then we got up and played Dunes, and then we went home. So, yeah.
Do you know, we had these grand plans, Dad and I, in the build-up. As soon as we booked it, like, we'll get there and we'll play 18 here, then we'll go and play like some of Bougle Run, and then we'll go back out for 9. And then after we had played 18, the two of us were like...
To be
fair, I forgot how the walk from green to tee and some of the hills, it kills you, man.
We look, we're not going to argue with you because the guys down there were nice enough to say, if you want to go and have a look, because, you guys are involved in golf, if you want to go and have a look at the course, it's not open yet, go and walk Bougle Run. I was like, we've just played Lost Farm twice. I'm going to sit in the bar and have beer, and that's it.
Yeah.
I can't do it. I'm done.
Well, it's funny because the first 2 holes at Bougle Run, like I say, they kind of just lead you into it, and then you've got a fair walk from the second green to the third tee box.
Yeah.
It's all uphill, and all the way to that tee, I kind of turn around and look at Dad, and I'm thinking, he's done. Because he's got his big buggy, and he's like that, trundling up the hill, and I thought, oh, nah, he's done.
Did you take the full set, or do you run a half set down there?
Just a half set. Just
half
a
set?
Half set, yeah.
Now
that's the perfect place for a half set.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Now, what are your thoughts on? I think it's pretty clear on this short form and short course golf. It's obviously it's not more than a trend. It's not going to just go away. Kingston Heath are building their own executive short course there, and I'm sure other places that have got the land and the wherewithal to do it. But it's not only the big money and the big name courses that are able to do it, and some great short courses exist. You were on one of them the other day in Adelaide. Let's talk about what you were doing with some of the Adelaide United Football Club guys. Where were you the other day?
So that's a prime example of just a lot of the boys at the club are kind of just getting into the game. So we'll go and play the big courses, but even for myself, I love going out at night time, obviously that twilight hour, and just taking a wedge and a putter. So that's kind of how that stemmed. That's just like, oh, look, we've got an hour and a half of daylight. Do we just go and jump on the short course kind of thing? And again, it goes back to, it's so good for people. I always say to Cassandra, we drive past that course all the time, and I always you'll see the most random group of golfers on that course. People you would never expect to see on a golf course. And it always makes me smile. I always say something to Sandra, how good is that? Look at that guy. You would never see him on a golf course,
Yeah.
I mean, that might be stereotyping on my behalf, but you know what I mean? It's bringing people to the game that ordinarily you would never think would be into the game.
Yeah.
And you always see a lot of women out there as well. There's a lot of old women because every hole's like 70 meters long. So it's perfect for like elderly women to get out and still have a hit. And from that perspective, I think they're so good for golf, these short courses. Sometimes you do just want to have driver though, don't you?
Yes.
But from that perspective, I'm all for it. All for them.
Now, who are the gun golfers in the Adelaide United football team? What's the squad like?
They're just getting into it, as I say.
Okay.
Although I played with them, the big James Daly, I know if he's mad for it. Yeah. He's really got the golf bug. He's been bitten hard by the golf bug. So he's always keen to get out for a game. Who else we played with? Big Cassini Yenge came out with us a couple of weeks ago, and he's literally picked up a club that he's played 3 or 4 times, and him and Daly are real good mates, so I think he's been dragging him out. Played with George Blackwood, and you can tell that George has played before. He's got a really nice swing.
It's interesting seeing a lot of the sportsmen take up golf as an alternate sport, and there's obviously a big group of AFL and soccer and cricketers and rugby union and rugby league players that have played golf for a while, but I think this growth in the game and the rise in popularity of the game has seen more of the sportsmen want to gravitate towards golf. It's really encouraging for me to see, and I do have a little message here, which I'll read to you, Stuart, because I spoke about, you get mentioned a lot on the podcast, because you're such a great friend of the podcast. So, whenever you've done something, it might pop up and we might mention it because obviously, the 3 of us are friends. But let me read, it's only a message from the Socceroo striker, Andrew Naboo, which he said, haha, heard you gave me a mention on the podcast yesterday, mate. I'm honored, appreciate the kind words, because like some of the boys you just mentioned from Adelaide United, Andrew Naboo is a developing golfer. He's just found the game fairly recently and is really passionate about it. But I also in that podcast, I mentioned maybe a Melbourne City Adelaide United some form of competition. And he said, basically, he said, that's a great idea. I've got the message here. I'm just trying to find it. The great podcast. Oh, of course, he said it's a great podcast. The idea to play against another team in a golf tournament is a great idea as well. So he's Andrew.
How good is that?
Andrew Naboo, Australian Socceroos, has thrown down the challenge. If you and I can, as the unofficial captains of the Melbourne City golf team and the Adelaide United golf team, if we can contrive a way to do it, we should do it.
A Ryder Cup style.
Yeah, I like it.
United be, all right, we'll call in one of the old Adelaide United boys, Daniel Mullen. He's a good golfer.
Yeah,
we're bringing in a ring in.
Is Robbie Cornthwaite Adelaide?
Robbie's a great golfer. He plays off 7 or 8. He's a real good golfer, Robbie.
So we can take Robbie. You can have Wade Ormsby, and I'll find someone on this side, and there we go. We can make a thing of it. Anyway, there's a bit of just following up. The people said that was a great idea. Andrew Naboo thought it was a great idea. So I just thought, while we had you on, we'd put that to bed and see if we can do something with it. Maybe.
Yeah, they can play a tournament. I'll film it.
I did also say to Andrew Naboo, if you see a Scottish guy taking photos on the side of the pitch on when it was it the other week, give him away for me. And I think were you there taking photos that night?
He aimed a ball at me and it swerved in the top corner.
he did score one of the all-time worldies. It was a pretty good goal. But were you there? You were there taking photos?
I wasn't there. No, okay. I wasn't there. Unfortunately, I didn't get to the game that night.
No, so
I watched it. I watched it from the living room.
2-2 anyway. We went. You're very kind. Yeah, because I remember the one time that I did give you a bit of lip about the football result. You were quick to remind me that you've never given me any back when it's gone the other way. So yeah, thanks for reminding me of my manners of football. Anyway, let's just stick to talking about Scotland. Mike, what's happened this week in golf?
It's been this week's an interesting week. There's not a lot happening on around the world. There's one tournament that's the old Shark Shootout in the US, and then you got the Vic PGA, which is down at Moon Links here in Victoria. Last week we had the tournament over in the South African Open. South African Open, wasn't it?
Yep.
Which they finally got four rounds in, because obviously, as we talked about last week, they had to call it short with the COVID breaking out and people rushing back to the UK, and it was a full 4-round tournament, and it was a pretty good tournament. It was a bit up and down towards the end because the winner, I can't remember his name now, I'm going to forget his name, but he the one that we picked was the Duplessis, and Duplessis was in the mix the whole way through, and he eventually didn't quite get there. But it was Van Tonda. Is that what his name was?
I've gone blank, but
you've gone blank. But yeah, he
I didn't actually watch it.
I actually watched a bit of golf this week. He sort of came home well and finished off with the win. So that was, it wasn't the greatest tournament I've ever watched, but it wasn't the worst. And then over in the States,
what is the greatest? What is the worst?
The greatest tournament I've ever watched. You know what? The one tournament that I always go back to, which most people wouldn't even know, was a tournament called the International, and it was probably one of the best tournaments I've ever watched on TV, because it was non-stop electricity, because it was the tournament where they play the Stableford numbers, or it was whatever it was back then. And so it was one of those ones where down the stretch, it was Rich Beam and someone else that I can't remember. We're talking 20 years ago. And Rich Beam, or whoever he was playing against, it was one of those ones where he was unbeatable because of the way that the points were working in the Stableford points, unless something random happened. And he had an albatross. He had an albatross to actually get either just the win or just lost. The bloke just lost. It was the most unbelievable finish of a tournament I've ever seen. As we do watching golf here in the US, it was 7:00 in the morning. I was probably supposed to be at work on a Monday, and I was watching a pretty unbelievable finish to a tournament. I reckon that was probably one of the better ones.
What's an albatross? A 5-pointer?
Yeah, I think it was it was something ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
That doesn't help anyone's scorecard.
Yeah, yeah. But worst tournament? Oh, don't know. There'd be lots of worse tournaments, lots of boring ones. The one this week in the US wasn't horrendous. It was one where our boy Cole Morikawa was probably the unbackable favourite after 3 rounds. I think everybody thought he was going to win. I know I did, and Rocket did because we were messaging each other. But Victor Hovland came over the top and beat everybody. He got over a few yips, had back-to-back eagles in the final round, and won by 1, which was, it's good to see. He was in our picks, which is good. I hope someone had some money on him. I didn't, but I hope someone picked him.
Stuart, if you follow Mike's tips on this podcast, you're pretty much guaranteed to have enough in the bank. If you are a betting person, it's not a betting podcast, but if you follow Mike's tips and if you do like a little flutter, you're pretty much guaranteed to get enough at the end of the season to buy yourself a new set of Callaways or whatever brand you choose. Mike has chosen Callaways because we did a fitting like the other week, and so he's done pretty well. And some of the listeners have done pretty well by following the great man's tips there.
This has been a good.
Is that where the name Magic Mike comes from?
Yeah, I don't know where Ross got that from.
I just made that up. But
I feel like I'm the only one here that doesn't have a nickname.
I always
Rocket, Magic Mike.
I always call you when you're not around Disco Stew because of The Simpsons. The guy's Stew, Disco Stew. So there you go.
I've had that before.
Have you? There you go. But no, that was it. It was a pretty steady week. Everyone's in wind down in world golf, I think, at the moment. I think a lot of people are a bit excited because Tiger said he's going to play the father-son. But other than that, yeah, not a lot happening.
I think you can forgive Morikawa for having a day off.
Yeah, I agree.
The season that boy's had.
Unbelievable. And we've been talking a lot about him finding his putter, and he's putted so well the last probably couple of months, which has been probably the one thing he's been quite poor at. So it's been really good for him to do it. I don't know what it was that it was probably only really one bad shot that he hit that cost him, but it cost him pretty big.
That 3-wood.
Yeah. I've never seen him hit a hook like that.
It was a big mud ball, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was not pretty. And it derailed him a bit. I know if he'd won, he was going to be world number 1, which would have been unbelievable in such a short amount of time. So, no, look, he's, as we've been saying, if he can continue that putting, he's going to be well and truly in a lot of tournaments next year.
We done a job with TaylorMade a couple of years back, and all these guys were on the range, and Morikawa stood out head and shoulders above. And this was before, I remember putting up in my story, this guy's going to win a major real soon. And of course, I never put money on him because I'm a fool. If Magic Mike had said it, I would have put money on him. But
I did. He was $42, mate. He won.
There you go. So it was like they were always having to flight different shots and things like that. And he had the ball on a shoestring. And they're all as good as each other, but there was something different about the way that he hit the ball and his control of his flight and things like that. And his ball striking's phenomenal.
Stuart, I was just going to say, the thing that I've prattled on about in relation to Colin Morikawa, which strikes me more so, or not more so, but obviously everything you mentioned there is a standout, but just the way that he carries himself, the way he holds himself, the way he talks, the way he has this presence beyond his years. Was he like that back then?
He does. Nothing phases him. He didn't look. The biggest thing was the guys on the range at that time. It was Tiger, Rory, Dustin, John Rahm.
Was
Jason was still at TaylorMade then, and then there was Wolf and Morikawa, the new guys. And I actually remember saying to the boys at the time, we kind of spoke that night about how incredible and impressive it was watching Colin Morikawa on the range. He was almost the guy you were looking at over all these huge names. So I just don't think anything really phases him. I feel like he just has immense confidence in his own abilities. That way. He's not there to be overawed by these guys next to him. He just has complete confidence in his abilities. And like I say, the control of his flight on every shot that he hit was just amazing to watch. So impressive. And the strike every time was just pure as. Brilliant to watch.
You've spent a lot of time around a lot of different players. I'm not going to ask you who you didn't rate. Of all the guys, who would be, or girls, who have been the 3 that you think, not just all round, great people, unbelievable golfers, just have been awesome?
Oh, well, but I'll tell you, the best ball flight I've ever seen in my life that made my jaw hit the floor. Cameron Champ.
Really?
Oh my goodness. I am not kidding. We watched him in Phoenix for half an hour on the range. This guy hits a ball and it doesn't leave 6 feet off the ground for the first 100 yards. And then it starts to take off. And then it just seems to climb and climb and climb and climb. And it's like it's never going to come down.
Wow.
I've never seen a ball flight like it in my life. I was absolutely amazed. But I don't know. It's hard to say, Mike.
Yeah.
I mean, Jason Day is top guy.
That's good.
He's
Good to hear.
struggling to
Aussies.
find a nicer guy than Jason. I feel like all the Aussies are good guys. Cam Smith, top bloke. I feel like they're like all the Aussies are real good guys, you know?
Yeah.
Which you would almost expect from an Aussie. I feel like the Aussies are quite a down to earth group.
Stu, the other group of golfers that always get a mention here, Mike creates a market for them every week, which ends up being a 50. You know, if it's in the PGA Tour, it's usually a 50-50 between
Russell Knox,
Rusty Knox, and Martin Laird. So yeah, it's a top. There's a top Scott market. Who are your favourite Scots golfers of all time?
Of all time?
Oh well, just of any time, but of all time, yes, and of current times.
Oh, I mean, you've got to go Bob Mack.
Mm.
How can you not love Bob Mack? I saw Scratch did a really interesting
It's good, wasn't it?
piece on Bob Mack. I don't know, did you watch it, Ross?
Yeah.
Where he goes back to Oban. He's saying how he was back playing shinty and all that. He seems like a lovely guy. And the fact that he's a lefty just makes it a little bit more special, I think.
It was interesting to see that, when he returned to shinty, when he wasn't playing the best and he wasn't in the greatest mindset, and he just went back and knocked it about with the boys and had a whack of shinty. And, probably as an elite athlete, as an elite golfer, you probably don't want to get a shinty stick wrapped around your knuckles, ankles, knees, or whatever. But he went and had a crack, and it seemed to be he came the better for it. That little video from Scratch, when my dad, 70-plus-year-old dad up in Cessnock, New South Wales, is sending me that video and saying, "Oh, have you seen the Bobby Mack video?" It's good. It means that it means that people are seeing it and seeing Scottish golf and seeing Scots golfers. I'd love to go to Oban. Have you been to Oban?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Is it nice? Nice.
Actually, we went to. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful place. We actually went to Oban the week before we immigrated to Australia.
All right.
The whole family went camping in Oban, and then you go over. You get the boat over to Tobermory, and they've got all the painted houses down by the water. It's beautiful. Oban's a beautiful place. But have you watched that little short that they did on Bob McIntyre, Mike?
Yeah, it looked. I'd asked Ross, like, I'd never heard of shinty in my life.
Yeah,
never seen. I said to Ross, it sounds very similar to what I call Sydney shinty, but a little bit two of the letters flip around different. But the course looked amazing. I love that little path on that par 3, just built into the side of the hill, just that little dirt track.
Yeah.
It's just so nice.
Yeah, that was a really good piece.
So shinty is played, and Stuart, correct me if I'm wrong, on that sort of west coast and north sort of west coast of Scotland.
Yeah, that was never something that we kind of had on offer when I was growing up.
Yeah.
Shinty, I feel like it's more like you say, maybe like a west coast, maybe like an Outer Hebridean thing, or even the Inner Hebrides. I feel like might play a bit of shinty.
So if you are listening and you've never heard, like Mike, of what shinty is, well, you need to get a little bit more Scottish culture about you. But it's a cross between, like, what would you say, Stu? Hockey and sort of Gaelic hurling.
Yeah, it was a hurling, hurling, and hockey. It's basically like playing hockey, but you've got more chance of getting a stick wrapped around you.
Yeah. Now, speaking of football, getting things wrapped around them, and not so much golf, but Sam Kerr. What do we think of Sam Kerr's effort?
It was hip and shoulder.
How good was it?
Right. Can't believe she got a card.
So funny. So, I know. Someone sent me the picture, and I thought the pitching video was kind of running toward her, But I saw the video later. She like lines him up.
Yeah,
she goes out her way to give her the old shoulder tackle. Yeah. Oh, it's so good.
It was awesome.
I can't believe she got booked. I mean, that's just a joke, isn't it?
Appalling.
And the guy ran off. They were more worried about booking her, and then security guards just kind of jogging behind this guy running off. I was like, what am I missing here?
That was a weird set of circumstances. That
it was like they should have had Benny Hill music with the security guards on.
It's very Andrew Simons-esque.
Yes.
Remember when he rattled someone as well?
He nearly killed someone.
No wonder, he's a monster.
He's a big boy. He's a very big boy.
Fair play to Sam Kerr, third in the Ballon d'Or 1 week, and then just taking out a pitch invader the other week. She could go to a golf tournament. We should get her to go to the States and just sit beside people who like mashed potatoes.
Yep.
You the man. What else?
Oh, that would be tremendous. I would actually like to put my hand up for that job.
Yeah, well, I'm glad that the only big tournament I've been to is the Open, because everyone was quite polite, but I'm not sure how I'd behave. If I had to stand beside someone who was mashed potatoing, you the man, bubba booing. I think there might be an international incident, but
the golf crowds in the US are very different to the golf crowds in the UK. I think different kind of, yeah.
Much more like Australia. Australia's like pretty relaxed. No, I mean, I think it's probably splits the difference somewhere between the two. I think
Australia's like smack bang in the middle of
it. Yeah.
I think especially the Open, going to the Open and going to Augusta for the Masters. Everyone that is at the Masters, they just feel so grateful to be there.
Yeah.
But they don't want to do a thing wrong. So everyone in those grounds is just on their very best behaviour.
Absolutely.
They're like scared to sneeze in case they get thrown out.
We had one of the boys, Conrad, a good mate of mine. I think both of you met Conrad at some point. His brother-in-law from Manchester had flown in for the Masters. And as soon as he locked sight on Alison Stoke, Ricky Fowler's now wife, I think that was as close as we were to being thrown out. He was like ready to yell out for her phone number, or we're like, you just need to relax because this is the Masters and no one shouts here. You can't even run or jog or they're going to throw us out. So just relax.
I'm not sure what Conrad looks like, but I'm sure Ricky Fowler wasn't exactly shiting himself in the competition.
Conrad, if you're listening, you're a very attractive man, but Ricky's got you covered.
By a few million.
Yeah, exactly. Just going back to Bobby McIntyre for a second and going on to another not a friend of the podcast who didn't want to come on. But it's projected that Bobby McIntyre is going to finish the world rankings at 54. There's some guy on Twitter, Mike, you might know the guy on Twitter who does all of these projections.
Nosferatu.
Yeah, that's him. Bobby Mack will finish the season at the top in the WGR at 54. Ian Poulter maybe at 53. But Minwoo Lee will finish at 48, which is, let's touch wood that goes Minwoo's way. 48, talking about the Masters, means that he'll get into the Masters, get an invite for that. Mike, you sent Minwoo an invite to come on last week when Rocket was not available.
No, it gave us nothing. It's funny, when I messaged him on Instagram, that the last message that I sent him was from about, funnily enough, it was from right around when you played in a Pro-Am with him. He was asking if anyone had been at the Pro-Am and had taken any videos, and I'd been there and stood behind him on one of the courses at the Australian and right behind the tee box when he hit one of his stingers, and I'd had this beautiful vision of it straight down the line. So I'd sent it to him, but no.
Stuart, just for your benefit, the listeners all know that a regular thing is I mentioned that I have played golf with Minwoo Lee. He did go on after playing around with me in the following year to win on the European Tour, as did George Campillo and probably who else I played with. Wade Ormsby had won the week before, seeing the team sheet that he was drawn with me in a Pro-Am. He won the week before, but he didn't want to come on the podcast. But I did ask him some questions. He went on live.
So what you're saying is that I'm going to win on the European Tour next week?
Probably.
Well, yes, yes, exactly right. That's it. I asked him some questions. I asked him, what's the food store to eat in Scotland if you want to win the Scottish Open? And he answered it, and he sort of answered in a roundabout way. He said, "Oh, that sausage stuff, the black stuff, the sausage stuff," which is, Stuart, of course,
Black pudding.
How good is black pudding?
It's all right.
Oh, okay.
I'm not crazy for it, Ross. Don't throw me in the Scottish stereotype. I'm not a big Scotch guy either.
Well, no, but I saw what didn't you have black pudding the other day? I saw you, Pete.
Square sausage.
Oh, square sausage. Sorry, my bad.
Square sausage. That was Mum dropped it on the front doorstep. I was all about her. She left. My mum phoned and said, "Oh, you know home?" I says, "No, I left you something on the doorstep," and it was a lunch bag, and it had square sausage and totty scone in it.
Okay.
And 2 rolls.
So for
all about her.
Anyone who's trying to keep up, so me, what is the difference between what is square sausage and I know what black pudding is?
You know what black pudding is? The Italians eat black pudding as well, right?
No, I've had the Scottish one, but I don't know what square sausage is.
So square sausage is Lorne sausage, and it comes in a rectangular. It's like a giant log, and it's just cut into slices.
Okay,
and it's just basically like square sausage meat with
like a meatloaf sort of
things like that, kind of, but not.
Okay,
think meatloaf shape.
Yep,
with a sausage taste.
Okay.
It's different gravy, man. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
Square sausage on a white roll with a bit of butter and a bit of whatever you put on there. Beautiful.
Tomato or brown sauce.
Can of iron brew. Did you have some iron brew?
Had a can of brewski with it.
There you go.
You need to wash it down with a brew. These little home comforts, you know.
So Min Woo Lee did answer a number of questions. He answered a couple of mine, but did you ask him a question, Mike?
No. It was I just noticed that he was online, and then I did something else, and then I think he was gone by the time I went back online.
Okay. Anyway,
I think you guys you're a year late to get Min Woo on.
Oh, it's a running thing. And Mike asked him, but anyway, me playing with him in 2019 at the Australian Open Pro-Am, hitting bombs and then sculling chips into the TV tower, obviously carried no weight, so we didn't get him. There you go.
Who would have thought it would have went more to you than it did to him, Ross? Disgraceful.
Yeah, exactly. Unbelievable. Right, what else?
Not a lot else. Yeah, I think the biggest story this week, probably because it is in such wind down, is Tiger playing. I think we talked about the fact that he can barely walk. And I know this is a tournament where he's not necessarily even going to have to hit off the tee and can get around in a cart. But I think most people are excited about that.
I think people are just as excited to watch Charlie as they are to watch Tiger.
Oh,
I watched again his highlights from last year's. Today they popped up on my feed.
Yeah, same.
That kid has got some serious game. Doesn't he?
5-wood that he hits with the ropey draw.
Yeah. They hit it at 4 feet. Like, forget about it.
Even the wedge that he hits in, and he hits it to like 1.5 feet.
Yeah.
Stone cold killer. Like, doesn't, no high five, just like, that's what I expected, walks off. Doesn't even, he could be anything. I mean, you're not going to put pressure on him, I'm not saying that, but good Lord, he looks like he's going to be a good golfer.
It is funny watching him, and you watch him in the tournament from last year as well. And it's weird for us adults to geek out over watching a young kid play golf, but it feels like you're almost getting an insight into watching a young Tiger play.
Yeah.
I think as we grew up through we watched the entire Tiger era, so we know the hypes that surrounded that.
Yeah.
So when you're watching Charlie play, you're like, is this gonna happen again?
Yeah.
You know, because he already looks like he's got that mentality, doesn't he?
Yeah. Yeah.
Jamie Glazier posted a snippet today that was about Tiger commenting on. He went out to watch Charlie play, and because his scores hadn't been so great in some tournaments that he'd been playing in, and he noticed that he was blowing up and carrying a bit of, that blowing up into the subsequent holes. And, basically the message from Tiger to Charlie was blow up as much as you want, go nuts after the shot, but just as long as you're ready for the next shot, 100% committed. And it was pretty great advice that anyone should take on board if they want to play better golf. But, it was just interesting to hear Tiger Woods say, go nuts, blow up, if you go angry, do whatever you need, but just as long as you're ready for the next shot, and don't carry it over for several shots or several holes later. Best advice probably he's ever going to get for his golf, and I'm sure he'll be the better for it.
It's amazing to think how lucky we are to be living through that period of Tiger. Like, I imagine that it would have been similar to Jack back in the day, but we're lucky enough that we have everything on our fingertips whenever we want to watch it back now. But it's amazing the presence and the space that he kind of demands, right? So, like, the only talk this week has been, it's almost like no one cares about Hovland winning in the PGA Tour.
Yeah.
All the talk this week is like, oh my God, but Tiger's in the range hitting balls.
Tiger hit a driver on the range.
You know, Tiger's wearing red on the range.
Yeah.
It's crazy that he still like demands that kind of attention.
Yeah.
You know, and everyone's drawn to it. That's all anyone's been talking about. Tiger. You know, and it's sad to think that eventually it will be, he's going to have to retire. You know?
And look, I was probably, look, I think it was last week, I said, was it last week or the week before? I said, there's no way he plays at Augusta. And I'm still saying that. There's no way he plays at Augusta. And you've been there, Stu, so you know how tough a walk it is. I still, no matter how much work he puts in the next 3.5 months, I can't see that his body's going to be able to walk that course. And I don't think unless I know he said about he doesn't think he's ready to compete at that level yet. But even when I think he's at 75%, I don't think he's the sort of person that's going to put himself into the Masters and punch around or have the possibility of missing the cut or
missing the cut.
It's no need for him to do that. And I think that the next chance I reckon we'll have seen there, if he can get there, would be the year after 2023.
I just hope that I kind put up, when he posted that swing video, I kind of put up as a joke my story, the 150th champion golfer of the year. And yes. I just think for Tiger to come back, win the 150th Open Championship in St Andrews would be the most, like the Masters comeback 2 years ago was incredible. To do that would be the most Tiger Woods thing ever.
Yeah.
The crazy thing is, someone sent me a message straight away and said, I just went to put a bet on that because you just triggered my memory, and he's only paying $40.
Yeah.
He's only paying like 40-1. And you're like, the guy's only got one leg at the moment and he's 40-1. He's still ahead of like 2/3 of the field to win it, you know?
Yeah, it's crazy.
No one else.
No.
So Mark, any thoughts on booking the tickets and us getting across to the Open?
Not the Open. I haven't told you this yet, but I did get a note today from Doc, who has told me he's a very high probability of heading over to the PGA Championship at, is it Southern Hills? I can't remember where it is this year. It's in Tulsa. So he's feeling out whether I'd be keen on flying over for that in May. But no, I think I would love to go to the 150th, but I think I'm still got my eyes set on Ryder Cup 2023 in Italy, being it'll be a very easy one to sell to the wife, Mrs. Magic Mike. Oh, it's going to be the easier sell, I should say. And Stu's wife and my wife are sisters.
Basically,
in my mind.
Do they have? Is there
they look kind of similar and they have the same last name.
Have the same last name.
That's right.
Which Stu figured out when we were having a beer in Adelaide one day. He said, "Is your wife's mate?" No, you might have said it when we were at Royal Park. Actually, he said, "Is your wife's maiden name Basile?" And I said, "Yes." And I think his head nearly fell off.
It really did. And then it really fell off when you told me that her name was a palindrome.
It is. My wife's name is a palindrome. So my wife's name is Elisa Basile, and she doesn't have a middle name. And Elisa Basile is the same back to front.
How crazy is that? Do you know anyone else whose name is a palindrome?
And the best part is, people always say, "Oh, her parents are geniuses." Her parents would not have had a clue. And I don't think they probably knew until she got home from school in grade 5 one day when someone at school pointed out that her name was a palindrome. Ross is going for a pen and paper to work this one out.
I absolutely am.
That's it. Elisa, Elisa, Basile. Back to front.
Elisa
Basile. Just watching for Ross's head to explode. There it goes.
Look at that. You know, just spell this one out as well. Where I live, Ross, Glenelg.
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah, okay, yeah. No, that's. I've got that one covered. That's. I'm used to that one. I've swum in that shark infested beach previously. Glenelg. Glenelg. Yeah. Curry. No, I was going to say curry is apparent. No, it's not. That's where I was born. Curry. That's no. Stuart.
I'm going.
Curry's not.
Curry's in King Island.
No, that's Curry with a C. I'm from Curry with a K.
I
was born in Curry with a K. It's actually Curry. Stuart, Adelaide Golf. What are the courses that everyone should visit when they are visiting South Australia? Now that borders are open, we can come across to South Australia now.
Borders are open to some people, not everyone. I think our borders are open to everyone. It's just other places are starting to shut theirs to us now.
Yep.
Because you lot keep coming over and infecting us all.
Playing golf.
Where should we play when we do get the chance to come to Adelaide?
Mount Compass.
Okay.
Mount Compass Golf Course. It's probably. Have you been there, Mike?
No.
It's probably 40 minutes outside the city. It's right near. It's probably only 15 minutes from McLarenville, the wine region. And I'll never get tired of playing that course. Dad and I actually used to be members down there years and years ago. And it's a great little public course. Great layout, very linksy. There's always rows on the course. It's always in fantastic condition. I can't speak highly enough of it. It's a great course. So that's the public course. If anyone's coming to Adelaide and they want to play some decent public golf, and you've only got a couple, you can maybe play 2 rounds. The 2 courses I would highly recommend would be Mount Compass and the Links Lady Bay. Is another good one.
I think that's the one you told me to play when I was over last, but I didn't get there either. They're on the list for next year.
Yeah, they're good. They're good. And then obviously you've got the private clubs around Grange, which has got the 2 courses, Royal Adelaide, Kooyonga, Glenelg. They're all fantastic golf courses. I mean, Royal Adelaide's one of the best front nines you'd find anywhere, I think.
And the courses in the city. So we were talking about the little short course. There's two courses in the parklands there on the terrace there.
Yeah, 2 18-hole courses.
Yeah.
I think the south course is probably the better of the 2. And then you've got that little par 3 course that I went for a hit with the boys the other night.
Anywhere up in the hills? Is there a course up in Blackwood or anywhere up there?
I used to be a member at Blackwood as well.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like just jumping from course to course. Yeah, Blackwood's a really nice course. That's kind of like a sandbelt kind of layout, and the greens are always rapid at Blackwood. That's not a good public one to add to the list for sure. Blackwood, and there's another one, Flagstaff Hill as well, which is a decent one in the Vine. There's a lot of good golf now I think about it.
Yeah,
but the 2 definitely the ones that stick out straight off the top of my head. Mount Compass is such a fantastic course. I love it.
The reason I ask is because, Mike and I sort of did a round Melbourne sort of discussion the other week, and we just kept going on, and there's that course and there's that course. And a couple of people actually reached out and said, oh, that was great to hear, even if we just breezed over them, that there are so many courses and sort of who they are and where they are, and that you guys have experienced in one or the other of you, and we should go and play. So that's why I asked you about, I've never played golf in Adelaide. So, I need to, I would love to. So I know Flagstaff Hill. So Flagstaff Hill's down the south, right? Yeah. Flagstaff
Hill's kind of not like, it's kind of heading. It's south from me anyway. It's south of the city for sure. Yeah.
And Links Lady Bay.
That's very south. That's very south. That's the furthest away for sure.
Okay.
If that was half an hour closer to the city, you would never get a tee time there.
How far is it out of the city? About an hour or more?
It's a solid hour drive, yeah.
Yeah.
It's good though. It's good.
What about McCracken? Is that still there? Is that down at Victor Harbour?
I haven't been to McCracken in years, Ross. That is a really good course. Again, it's just so far away.
Okay.
But I believe it went downhill for a while, but someone just bought it over and put a bit of money into it, I think. So I've been meaning to get back down there, but I've hardly even, I was very fortunate to get a membership at Grange, which is 15 minutes from my doorstep, and I hardly even get out there for a hit. Yeah. Never mind driving an hour and 10 minutes down to Victor Harbour for a game, you know. But someone just bought over McCracken, but that is a really nice course as well. There's a lot of good golf. Like, I feel like anywhere you go in Australia, there's always good golf.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't matter where you are. I mean, you guys are obviously very lucky with your selection of golf courses, but it's the same from state to state. I actually think Adelaide's very lucky as well.
And I lived in Perth for a year and a half, and Perth's amazing for public courses. Just heaps of great golf courses.
I always say if you had a course like Compass or a course like Lady Bay and you put it in the US, you'd be paying north of $100 for a round. The golf is that good. And again, you would never get a tee time. You know? I like to think, I mean, if you're talking Lady Bay, it's kind of like Rustic Canyon, which is a really popular public course out in LA, and you struggle to get a tee time there. And I think that's about $100 Aussie for a game. And I wouldn't put it above any of the public courses that we have here that you can play for $45, you know?
Mike, did you go to Rustic?
I did, yeah. We played Rustic, myself, Conrad and Doc on the Masters trip. That was stop number one was, I think, Stu, I think you told us to head out that way. And the course that was not far from town, I think you sort of played a little bit, which was closed for a tournament.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we played Rancho Park instead because that was open, which was good fun. In the middle of LA, and then we went up and played Rustic Canyon one day, and we played the Trump course out on the water one day. So that were three courses we played, and the Trump course was, was expensive, good, course, but wasn't anything amazing. But the views were awesome, so it was good.
Views
good
are
day.
incredible down there.
Yeah.
So, Stu, if you go back to the States, or when you go back to the States, and hopefully that's sooner rather than later, does that mean you go to Houston?
Austin.
Sorry. I knew when I said Houston, it was the wrong one. I wasn't going to say Dallas. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll go to Austin because obviously since the boys moved there, I haven't been there to see them settle in and stuff. So I think we'll probably fly into Los Angeles and spend a couple of days with friends there, and then I think we'll go to Austin and see Eric. It'll be, like I say, 2 years since we last saw each other.
How far off?
Good to catch up.
How far off is the RGCHQ from being finished in Austin?
I believe he said around March.
Okay.
It'll be done. I think they're aiming for March. So that's where I'm trying to kind of coincide visiting there when that's all done and stuff, because they'll all be excited, won't they?
Yeah.
It looks great. He's showing me all the plans and everything. It looks like it's going to be golf haven. I think as well, doing it in March, that ties in with they've got the WGC event there in Austin around that time, so it can be a bit of a party space for the week and things like that.
Yeah.
So it makes sense.
And then Scotland in July, hopefully, fingers crossed.
Yes.
Sounds good.
All going well.
Mike, is there any golf this weekend? Is the season finished now? What's on? There's got to be golf somewhere.
There's the Sharks shootout this weekend, which is going to be a 2-man event that I don't know many people are going to watch. The one that started today was the Vic PGA at Moona Links. So that's been it's been an interesting watch. It's been blowing a gale down there.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the mixed? Is that the men and women?
No, they've got the
it's a pro-am format.
Pro-am, yeah. So they're doing a pro-am.
Okay.
They've only got 80 odd players. They play the Legends course, then the Open, then the Legends, and the Open. The leader at the moment after day one, 5 under, Kevin Smith, who I don't know Kevin Smith, but he's had a great day, even on it's a Legends course in the weather they were in.
I do know Kevin Smith, but he's not a golfer.
A different bloke.
Just a guy called Kevin Smith.
Shout out to Kevin Smith. Where's your Kevin from, mate?
He won't be listening. Like I said, he's not a golfer. I'm trying to think. What did I see? Lucas said they've got an event the Sandbelt Invitational in December.
That's coming up.
Is
Yeah,
that Mike Clayton's. Mike Clayton's organising that. Is that right?
Mike and Jeff Ogilvie are behind that. So Jeff's been putting on, and Mike, but Jeff's been putting on a series of events around Sandbelt courses for some of the guys that are pros that aren't being able to go on tour, and some elite amateurs, and that's called The Game. And there might be 12, there might be 15, there might be 20. I think there's a little bit of money goes into a purse, and the winner takes the cash. And so they've been doing that to keep the competitive spirit going. But I think since Mike and Jeff started that, which started before whatever lockdown it was, they started and then it stopped and obviously started again. That gave sort of birth to this concept of why don't we play a tournament at where is it, Mike? It's at Peninsula Kingswood, Metro, Kingston Heath, well, and Royal Melbourne.
Oh,
so there's 4 days.
So it's kind of like the Dunhill Links.
Yeah, 4 days, 4 rounds, and be pros and elite amateurs, and that's not next week. It's the week before Christmas, basically.
Yeah, December 23rd.
Yeah,
20th to 23rd, I think.
So
that is. You've got to love Jeff Ogilvie's love for golf.
Yeah.
My God, he does so much for the game, doesn't he?
Yeah.
In Melbourne, he's really
Oh, and I think it's only going to get bigger and bigger. Once we get past this time, and Jeff can really scale up his passion for that and his scalability. Like he's got obviously some people supporting him. He's a big swing golf ambassador. We get Jeff down to the store, and he's done a few. He's had Andy Lee in down there, and they play golf on the screens, and they do a bit of chat and whatever. And he's just got a massive reach and audience, and he's just be able to bring in people that will support anything that he does in terms of the golf thing. It's great that golf's on the rise. People want to be in and around golf, which is awesome, because it wasn't that many years ago that the tournaments like this wouldn't rate a blip, but now everyone wants to get them and see them and be part of it. So it's great. It's absolutely fantastic.
He's good. For me, the best thing about Jeff, and why I think he resonates really well with people, is he says what he thinks. Like he talks very intellectually about golf. He gives you insight. He doesn't just tell you he doesn't just give you an opinion and walk away. He'll explain it and talk to it. And he's very even, but he'll always tell you what he thinks. And that's what's great. Like if he was doing commentary on golf every week, you'd listen to him inside out. Because he can talk about the course, he can talk about the plays, he's talking stories. He's very, very good. Whenever he does one of the Friday episodes when he talk about golf, and I'm not the biggest golf architecture guy, I'll listen to them talk about that stuff all day.
I've listened to them as well, just to listen to Jeff, because he's so intellectual, articulate, and so his knowledge for the game is just unbelievable. Yeah. And the thing about it is his knowledge for the game is amazing. He obviously has the architect experience now as well, but that he's lived through the tour and playing in the tour, and he's won a major championship, so automatically it draws you in. But then once you're there, he kind of keeps you there, because everything that he says has purpose and it's super meaningful, that way.
100%.
He's great to listen to, Jeff Ogilvie. He really is.
It's not unusual to see Jeff just slinging a half set. We talked about half sets. He's got, I don't know what the brand is, but he's got some blonde coloured persimmon headed driver 3-wood sort of combo. He's just got an old set of blades and the old persimmons, just with the Sunday bag, like the ones that you guys carry, and just out playing golf in the Wednesday comp with some of the members or some of his mates. It's he knows how.
You almost want to say, "Oh, you're an architect now, Jeff." They all have the same setup.
No, but he goes out there and plays very, very well, just with some of the old tech. Obviously, the ball helps go a long way. But I think to Jeff's points that he makes is about the ball and rolling it back and all that sort of thing. The way that he would have courses set up, I think the three of us would agree that if he set up a course for a tournament, it'd be set up the way that we would love to see golf played. And, I think that's where, if Jeff could have that influence over in the States, and it's probably not going to happen ever, but you know what I mean? It's great the way he thinks, so I'm agreeing. Guys, I've kept you for an hour and 10. We've chatted, we've caught up. Anything else for you, Stu? Any questions for you? Anything else you want to tell us about? Any breaking news?
I
Nothing.
feel like I've just been rambling on, talking nonsense for the past hour.
No.
Welcome to the show.
I don't know if we'll take that as a compliment or a criticism, but either way, it doesn't matter because it's done now. Dear. Thanks for listening, everyone. Thanks, Mike. Stuart Kerr, welcome again. Thank you for coming again. Short notice and filling in for the Rocket Man. Let's play his music.
Oh, anytime, boys. Anytime. Woo!